In a changing economic marketplace, in a changing job market, a lot of employers are really looking for dependable staff and staff which will turn up every day, follow the system and processes, and are fully aware that there will be cost cutting across the board. And if you are an entrepreneurial thinker, most companies out there, unless they're on a bold strategy, they have a bold business model or plan, are most likely going to be looking for the more dependable type of staff member or employee. And I think that's something you really want to be sharing with your potential employer, or when you're interviewing with HR, recruiters, or even the person you're going to work for. I think it's really important to be someone who's dependable, who understands the economic situations at hand, and rather than asking for benefits from the company, is more inclined to offer more of himself, more of their time. As for that changing throughout the decade, I think a lot of companies will move towards a more well-being based environment. That will happen naturally. Before 5 a.m. and everything we do at the Joe Duncan Group's at the forefront of that. And I think by the middle of the decade, most companies will have greater social and corporate responsibility, and well-being will be at the forefront of that. So if you are looking for a workplace which allows you to be more entrepreneurial, if you're looking for a workplace which allows you to look after yourself and have a better work-life balance, I'd expect that to really open up in the second half of the decade, when the economy starts to regroup and things start to pick up again. And I think one of the things that you've got to be mindful of in any role you're in currently or looking for is the role of automation and AI. I think that is the big opportunity or the big challenge, depending how you look at it. I think ultimately we'll see a slowing economy for the first few years of the decade. There'll be a tremendous amount of change in terms of the job market, and I think what we need to do is prepare a lot of people, especially the kids coming through school, for the new jobs market. I think we're still failing on an education level to prepare people for the changing marketplace. The jobs are very different, the skills that are required are very different, and what employers are ultimately looking for is going to change. And we're going to have more entrepreneurial thinking. We're going to have great minds in companies, and we're going to have people who are more proactive across the board if we're going to move forward on any economic level. And as the jobs market contracts, we'll start to see how evident that is. But on the other side of that coin, what you'll start to see is, as the job market contracts, a lot of employers will be looking for people who do their job, follow their duty, and get the job done without too much outside thinking and fresh ideas. A lot of companies out there will go into a hole. Some of the more proactive companies will expand and really try and break through. Most companies will basically try and sit still and weather the storm. But we'll see how that plays out. Our data suggests it's going to be a little slow for the first few years, and I think that makes it very tough when you're trying to find your place in the world. We already know there's a lot of displaced people at the moment, and I think when we're talking economically and financially speaking, a lot of people are trying to find their place in the marketplace, and they're trying to find a job, they're trying to find a career, and it's constantly changing. There's not an easy step-by-step process. One of the things you have to do is work out what you love doing and what you're compelled to do, and find your purpose, find something you really want to do, and leave money out of that equation and focus on a craft and a skill set. Focus on creating and building and seeing what you can do with your time on this planet. I think if you do that, you'll always be a bit more empowered in the economy, because you'll find the job or the career or start the business you want to start. That's something we're going to have to start teaching people to do and be more proactive with when you look at the education program across the board. And you're starting to see that now with the Joe Duncan Group. We're getting a lot more interest in the creativity programs and helping people become more entrepreneurial thinking within a company. And that's one of the big programs we're pretty much booked out for the first few years of the decade, because companies need people who are engaged, and if you are disengaged, you're most probably going to find yourself wiped out in this marketplace. And It's not likely to get better at the back end of the decade with AI becoming a bigger part of companies and obviously automation. So with those two challenges, it's time for a lot of people to get into gear, focus up, do what they're interested in and compelled to do, because if you're not engaged, you're going to have a lot of challenges ahead. That's one of the big things we're starting to recommend to our clients as well as the companies we work with.